as always, there's something that you can depend on, and that things are going to change as time goes on. And today is marks a big change for the Farm to Table Direct Show. And let's get started with what that's all about.
We've handed over our food security to someone else, and they're here to help you take it back. It's the Farm to Table Direct Show with Ryan and Keith.
Welcome to the Farm to Table Direct Show.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah. So as we stated, is that we're gonna do some changes on the Farm to Table Direct Show, and we're going to be getting away from talking about the problems that we see going on around the world. I think a lot of people see that, and we're going to get into the solutions.
Right.
It's not saying that you can't go back and look at some of our older stuff and see the things that we talked about as to why we should be doing this, but we felt a big need to just start focusing on the solution, get out of the political stuff, and kind of get more into what to do about it, right?
Right, absolutely. I mean, it's not that the political's not there. I mean, in the sense of, we still keep on what's going on, but wanted to focus less on that, less on the why and more on the how, the who, the where of the solution. We've spent a year and a half primarily talking about the problem or the why and the who's behind the why and all of that stuff, and just
Right.
just kind of really felt a motivational shift that we needed to be focusing on addressing the solution through a variety of ways that we've come up with over the last few weeks. And going to be some pretty cool changes. Actually, I think it's going to be rather exciting.
Yeah,
I don't want to sound down like we're just like no. Actually, it's rather exciting, folks. And there's going to be some changes, and I think it's going to be positive changes that is going to maybe make us a little bit more entertaining, but
we'll see.
Maybe we'll see. But no, it's stuff that's more practical, more to the point of how the how you can make these changes in your life, and
Right.
Pointing to experts and pointing to those that are already doing, and is one aspect of that.
Well, I'll add, part of my motivator too is that honestly, whenever I was preparing for the shows and everything, I mean, it causes us to dig deep,
Right.
Causes us to dig deep into a lot of issues that kind of gets me stirred up.
Right. Well, yeah, it does. It stirs the inner part, get your blood pressure up, get your mind off of things of more eternal importance. And
Yeah, that's right.
and I've had to take outside of the preparation for the show that we would do, I've probably taken a huge break from politics in general, probably in the last
Right.
year and a half, 2 I
Right.
mean, the last year probably in particular, because it was just stressing me out so much, and it was keeping me up at night, so to speak, and getting my anxiety and blood pressure up, and I don't need that. So, and so it was just kind of one of those things where I kind of started stepping back, and other than show prep and maybe things that that my wife Cindy would bring to my attention, I was, if it didn't pop
Kind
up
of
in my feed,
unplugged.
I just kind of unplugged from it all, watching shows, that type of thing. And
Right.
so, it was only in the show prep, and it was like every time I started digging off into that stuff, it's like you said, it just kind of stirred things up that was just not healthy,
Right.
physically or spiritually.
Yeah, I'm not advocating that, that we but just stick our head in the sand and
Right.
just ignore the things that's going on around the world, but I am saying that we need to be more solution oriented. I remember when, I would have employees and they would always come to me with the problems.
Right.
Problem.
Yep.
So next time you come to me, why don't you bring me a solution to it? What's your ideas about this?
It's funny. What was said to me one time is I went into a supervisor, and I was like, I got a problem. And he's like, no, you don't. He said, you got a situation. He said,
There you go.
problems don't have a solution. Situations, we have a solution. He
Right.
said, but if you've got a situation, what do you see as the way to fix it?
Right.
And so it was that problem solution model, but he just didn't like the word problem because he felt a problem was something that couldn't be fixed.
Right.
But-
So as we're talking about the solution to these problems, we felt that promoting self-sustainability through the homestead community was probably the best solution
Right.
that's out there right now. And so we want to really double down our efforts on, promoting, um, facilitating
Right.
any events that are out there, bringing it to people's attention.
Oh yeah.
And,
Well, like you
yeah,
were saying, doubling down on that effort. And I mean, it's, through the process of this show over the last year and a half and the connections we've made and stuff, we became more aware of the homesteading community,
right.
even in our own backyard that we didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And, and as well as farmers and farm to market or farmers markets and that kind of thing, but particularly the homesteading community,
Yeah.
because it's so embodied everything that we, uh, stood behind, we valued as the solution of,
Right.
being self-sustainable, having control of their food supply,
Yeah.
keeping it local when they possibly can.
What other
Working together.
community
Yeah,
out there that you know of
right.
that exemplifies the solution more than a homesteading
I
community?
really just can't find it. I mean,
Yeah.
farmers, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking. I mean, the farmers have their part and they do, and especially the ones that are beginning to sell direct to the
Mhm.
public now, and they're
Yeah.
opening up and they're beginning to bypass the pack houses. They're beginning to bypass the the middle people, and they're just starting to sell direct, whether it's
Mhm.
chicken, eggs, pork. I mean, whatever
Yeah.
you pick it, they're getting ready to. Thank you, bro. They're getting ready to. They're opening up to a direct sell,
Mhm.
because it just better control for them as well. So I mean,
Right.
they're certainly a part of the solution, and as farmers markets have sprung up like crazy in the
Yeah,
last
they
3
have.
years.
They really. I think even on the USDA website, that list is over
Almost
6,000 or
Yeah, it's close.
6,000 plus.
Yeah, it's crazy, and that's the ones that are registered. And I mean, I'm assuming the most
Right.
are, but I mean, from little bitty towns of a few hundred to big cities of millions. I mean,
Now, some people may say, well, people just become more health conscious, and that's good
and
if
that may
that's
be
what it
part
is.
of it.
But I think people see the why,
Yeah, well, right, and they want, there's things you can't get. It's going to sound weird. There's things you can't get at the box store as good as you can get it
Right.
from a local person that's grown it or raised it, and or is making it, and it's there, and you're supporting a local economy, and
Yeah, that's
that's
right.
been a big thing we've been a part as a parallel economy. We've been a big supporter
Yeah.
of, and that is a sense of parallel economy, and but no, the homesteading community as a whole embraces all of those. It just encompasses that entire
Right. It's the spirit.
right.
I would even say the spirit of America,
Oh,
really.
absolutely. I mean, it's the homesteader, if you will, or the where the term come from. Somebody had a piece of land. They sat down. They put a house. They took that land and they made that land in some way. They made that place work for them to provide food and shelter and sustainability for their family. Because there wasn't a world's largest retailer down the road. There wasn't a
Right.
these places
Right.
didn't exist. And so they had to figure out how to do it on their own. And it's that spirit of
Independence.
independence, and
Right.
that really runs through deep through the homestead community,
And
and
through
and
Americans.
through Americans, through good old USA, red, white, and blue. I mean, it does. It's that idea of individualism, rugged individualism,
Yeah.
of setting out and chasing after something, achieving
Right.
whatever your goal is. But so, like I said, the homestead community just embodies that so much.
Right.
And
And so I'm going to kind of circle back
yeah,
to something that you said. You were talking about even in our own backyard, we did not realize that there was a homesteading community
right,
that was already in existence that
right,
we had no idea about until I seen them talking about something on Facebook. As a matter of fact, I think it was somebody who may have followed us, and I kind of seen who they were and
right.
checked them out, and lo and behold, they were getting together at a lake not so far from where we live.
Right, and that's, I mean, it's right out literally when we say in our backyard, that's what we mean. It's right down the road and from where we both live, and,
Yeah.
no matter which direction you come from, but that, this was going on right around us, right under our nose, and we had no idea.
Right.
And that's not even mentioning the YouTubers and the and stuff that we've become aware of and connected with in the last year, well, particularly more so in the last few
Right.
months. But I mean, it just, we've honestly, for a while, probably felt like we were alone in this this.
You know, I felt like whenever we would speak up, you know, because that
Right.
was really, you know, when we started all this, we felt very strongly and deeply in our hearts that we can't just sit by and say nothing about
Right.
what we see, you know.
Right.
And so, you know, our why
Right.
was because I don't want that my grandchildren will say, why didn't Papa Keith do something?
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
and so our why for starting the, you know, the Farm to Table Direct Show was absolutely to speak out. But as we've discovered, that there's already people and communities that's out there. And so doubling down to make these communities more coherent and larger
Oh yeah, absolutely.
is
So it-
kind of what we want to
Right. Well, let's say
facilitate if
to
we can.
facilitate and even to maybe introduce them to each other in
Right.
a sense of, as I've done homework and research for this episode, as far as thinking about where we were going, and really kind of we were at a crossroads about a week ago of, is there even going to be a Farm to Table Direct Show?
Right.
And kind of looking through that, and as I would read through news headlines and stuff, I'm seeing these things going on over, events and notes from homesteading all around the country.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's like, I realize it's like, this isn't just something that's, geographically, limited to Oklahoma or Missouri or whatever. No, they're out on the West Coast, they're Northwest, they're in Connecticut, they're all over the United States. But yet so many of them don't even know about each other.
So if you could look at each one of those communities as a small circle,
Right.
my imagination becomes to be like, what if we were able to all connect as communities,
Right.
you know, and, you know, make people aware of these smaller communities and where they're at and the things that they're doing, you know. A lot of them are on not Facebook
Well,
and on YouTube and
They are, and I mean, some of one. I know two different things. That one's going on, as a matter of fact, started last night and is going on this week, which was that online seminar.
right.
You know, that's connecting global.
Right.
That's connecting online internet.
And if you wouldn't have paid attention or be looking for something, you would have never found that.
No, it is
you don't know.
Right. And there's one, I think I don't know if I put it out yet or not, but there's one coming up next year. They had one this year, but it's up in what's that? Idaho, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, up in that area.
Oh, yeah.
somewhere. A big event going on up there. There's, of course, I've announced a couple that are going on in the Arkansas area
Right.
when I put it out on the channel.
Yeah.
And, I'm seeing stuff in, like I said, Virginia. And of course, Missouri is heavy with it. And,
Mhm.
Mississippi, where
Right.
so many of them are at. I mean, just all over. I mean, it's like, and if you
Right.
started putting those little circles and you start, what you realize, if you look at the map and think about it, is they overlap each other.
What that really means is there's a whole bunch of us.
A lot more of us.
And here was the thought that Ryan and I had was that, you know, we're stronger together.
Absolutely. Stronger together, and
Yeah.
it's, because I mean, you know, uh, individual by themselves or a group of, whatever, but you put a bunch of people together and you realize you've got support.
Right.
And I mean, we're eventually going to talk some more about it, but, by going to the Okie Homestead Expo that we went to,
Right. Yeah.
that really kind of opened us to, holy wow. I mean, just,
Right. I think, you know, that was an eye opener for us.
yeah,
You know.
absolutely, to how big the community is. And I think,
Yeah.
in talking with, Dutch and Brandy and Kevin and
Yeah.
anyway, Hidden Heights, I always get their names, right.
Yeah.
Rachel and all them up there.
Yeah.
In talking with them, I think even they were, when they did the first one, were surprised at how many people were interested and how big that was, how big it became. I mean, just,
Right. Well, and just talking around at the expo, you know, talking to people that was coming from
all over.
long distances,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm like, really? You're coming to Oklahoma
Yeah,
for that?
little old town of Pryor, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I know. Right. God bless them,
Yeah,
man.
right. And I mean, it's like people,
God bless Pryor, Oklahoma.
right, reading comments, and I mean, so many people, like you said, from all over the country and outside the country that are,
Yeah.
that want to come down to this. They want to be a part of these communities, and it's like, okay, and the more we can get these communities sharing with each other and introduced
Right.
to each other,
Knowing about each other,
knowing,
it
just
starts.
being aware,
Yeah, just being
Yeah.
aware of each other. Yeah.
opens up so many
Right.
opportunities. Because I mean, I look at some of the smaller events, if you will, that I've looked at, and I realize it's like, how many of those people are even aware that there's this bigger community right around them that would just flock to what they're doing
Yeah.
if they just knew about it,
Right.
you know?
And
And
so, that was kind of what we thought about, is that, we want to be a part of the movement, if you will, and
right,
and facilitate the growth of the homesteading community.
right,
And some of the ways that I think that we're going to do that is we're going to be reaching out. We're going to be actively searching for new
oh,
communities,
absolutely.
and we're going to be highlighting some of those communities.
Anytime we can, get something where we become aware through a headline on the news, or somebody sends us information, or,
Right. Yeah.
it pops up in the Facebook feed, whatever,
Yeah.
that we become aware of an event, or we become aware of something going on, community wise,
Right.
where we can get that out to y'all via the channel, and via Facebook and that type of thing, to make everybody more aware.
Right.
And that is the facilitation, and
Right.
yeah, and the hopeful plan is to be able to go out to some of these events, to cover some of these events,
Yeah.
and
That's it. Yeah.
and be on the boots on the ground, as we like to joke
Right.
around.
We'll be there in March at the Okie Homesteading Expo,
Right. Yeah,
and we're already making plans for that,
we
and
engage with the-
we're
yeah.
excited about it.
Man, I'm so pumped up that
Yeah.
we can't really begin to tell you what
Right.
we're working on for it, but let's just say it's
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of undertaking,
Right.
but we've been in communication with those guys, and
Yeah.
they're excited about what we're wanting to do, and
Yeah.
so it's
And
like I
so-
said, it's 6 months away, and I'm already just
Right. And here's the thing, our whole goal at the Okie Homesteading Expo is going to be promoting to the best of our ability
Right.
to get behind this movement and push it as hard and as fast as we can.
Oh, absolutely. And by getting in there and meeting and interviewing, and
Right.
and just continually pushing the expo, and those that are involved, and not just the ones putting it on, of course, certainly them, but then the speakers that are coming in, and the people that are coming in, the vendors, the people that are actually just so tied in, and
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
I know, just in following what's been going on, there's so many people that are repeat. They're coming back. Some three-peat. They're coming
Yeah.
back, and
Right.
I mean, as soon as they knew the dates, they were in. And
Right.
so I mean, that's that one. There's, like I said, and they're all over. These little events. I mean, I shared on the channel about the one up in Knoxville. That's a small little event, but I mean, that's
Yeah.
where it starts.
It's an event.
It's an event, and there's
Right.
one, the Hardy Homesteader Days, September 30th. Up in
Oh, right.
Hardy, Arkansas.
Hmm.
Now that one,
Never heard of it until
never
just
heard
recently.
until it was
But they've been doing it for
31 years. This will be
31 years.
31
Yeah,
years. And
exactly. Who knew?
For
I
from
didn't.
us, for me anyway, Hardy's not that far. We're talking about, no further than west of Pryor.
Right.
Had never heard of it. And it popped into my information. It was, in fact, on my news feed. There was an article
Yeah.
about it, and it popped up in my news feed. And so I clicked on it and followed through. And I'm like,
Right.
oh, and that's why I did the short to get that information out there, because
Right.
it was coming up real quick, and I wanted people to know about it.
Right.
I mean, and they do, like, I've seen people. They got wagons. They dress up. Period. They've got
Yeah, that's cool.
demonstrations. I
I've
mean,
seen
it's
it.
like
They had
they
dresses for sale if you needed
yeah, they
to, have a
literally go to
period dress.
homesteader.
Yeah.
They literally get back into the whole homesteading
Yeah.
beginnings, if you will. But so I mean, like I said, little things like that are, it's a big deal to that community,
Right.
and it's a big deal to that region right around that. But at the same token, it's like, the more of those things we know about, and we can get out to the others, well, then, it might give somebody else an idea of, hey, we could do that where we're from, or
Yeah, I mean, if it spurs growth with,
Right.
starting new upstarts of
Right.
homestead communities, that's great.
Absolutely,
Would love to see that.
and whether we got some of our people that that we know that are in a particular area, like I shared the links to I shared the information of those
Sure.
to VW Family Farm, because
Right.
they're right in the middle of where those two events are. So I mean, that's it's right in their backyard, whichever direction they went.
Right.
And so haven't heard back, but I mean, point is, I shared it on a comment to them. And if you're out there, yes, we sent it to you.
Right.
But because they take and they sell product, they sell fresh meat, they sell meat off their farm, they
Mhm.
sell things off
Right.
the farm, and that's
Yeah.
that's their
Yeah,
thing.
that's right.
But-
And so now we've been talking about the events
Right.
and promoting the events and whatever way we can get involved with those. But let's talk about some additional things that we kind of got on our mind other than just event coverage and announcement.
Right. Well, I think that comes into, I think if you're heading where, talking about having experts, having people that know
Yeah.
how to do some of these things on the homestead or on a
Right.
farm or with your, just variety, anything connected in that world of the how to
Right.
guys. Because listen, a lot of this stuff that's being done out there that's homesteading or that is farm related, is those products or whatever. I ain't ever done it. I got no idea. I
Right.
can read about it.
We have to defer to
But
the
we've got to get
experts,
hold of
right?
somebody
Yeah,
who's an
sure.
expert to
Right.
come in and talk to us. I mean, much like we
Right.
did with Freddie on meat processing.
Yeah, exactly right.
You know, uh,
And not just bringing them in for an interview necessarily,
even
but
going
us
there.
going there.
Right. That was a big thing, was going there and letting them teach us
Right.
what's
Something valuable, a
something
little
valuable,
hands-on. Yeah.
and y'all get the benefit of seeing it.
Sure. Absolutely.
And take y'all along with us. But
Right.
that way, we're seeing them in their environment.
Right.
Not bringing them in here into this table and our environment.
Right. So I'm really looking forward to that personally. I
road
mean, I'm
trips.
hyped about it. I want to do a little road trip and
Yeah, I know you're probably going to have to be the lead on that in the beginning.
yeah, whatever.
My next
Yeah.
6 weeks are
Oh, I know.
are
That's right.
pain.
Well,
but-
let me also, give a shout out to Three Nails Media Homestead.
Three Nails Homestead. For those that are picking up in the past episodes, we've talked about possibility of me doing a separate channel,
Right.
covering our journey. My wife and I, along with our youngest daughter and son-in-law, bought a
Right.
piece of property a few years ago.
Yeah.
And they've been living up on the property, and I've just kind of been maintaining it. But
Right. You've been trying to get there though.
been trying for 4 years to
Yeah.
get there. But anyway, some developments have occurred and are occurring presently, even as of today, that are
Yeah.
we're on a timeline now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. That's where the 6 weeks
The
comes
6
in.
weeks I'm about to be tied up, but
Yeah.
I'll make time for all of this. But
Right.
I've already
Don't forget your tripod and your camera.
but I've already shot.
Take us along the journey.
I've already shot enough footage for at least
Yeah.
2 episodes
Yeah.
and of that, and I just got to get them edited and get the channel out. By the time y'all get this and it's edited and out, I should have the channel up and running.
Yeah.
And can point you over to, it'll be Three Nails Homestead, just
Yeah.
exactly like that right there.
Right.
And it's going to be our journey as we get moved up there, and there's tons of infrastructure and innovation. So we're kind of being inspired and wanting to get into this lifestyle, and more so, and actually going to go out and get some hands on the ground, and y'all get to see me
Right.
out working and on the tractor and hot and sweaty, and of course my dog Sadie, and
Yeah.
well, I say my
They could
dog,
probably
my
do
daughter's
without the
dog,
hot
Sadie,
and sweaty part. Go
but-
ahead.
yeah, well, it's part of being up there, but
Yeah, that's true.
but anyway, Three Nails Homestead, that's one of the things we're doing is our journey up there. So we'll be putting boots on the ground, so to speak, hands on,
Right. Follow along with,
follow along, and I'll
you're slow and
Slow.
just constant.
it's just going up and working on whatever has to be worked on that particular
Right.
uh and so we'll see where that goes. I mean, it's
Right.
new. It's as Keith referenced, I've been up there twice, 3 times, and I've forgotten to take my tripod. So I got to get it in the truck so I can mount up on it instead of just
Yeah.
me hand holding.
I expect newsflash. Ryan takes tripod. Headline,
Absolutely. And so anyway, it's so that's one thing.
Okay. The other thing was, that we were thinking about is the farm to table report.
Right. Now, the Farm to Table report will be a separate thing from what we're doing here, but still on the Farm to Table channel. And what that's going to basically be is I'm going to try to set that for a weekly thing. Actually, we talked about doing that as a live. We just haven't
Yeah.
working through the details, but basically that'll cover news headlines,
Right.
not digging deep into them or getting into the
Not
motive-
opinion piece.
not opinion or digging off
Right.
into that.
It's mostly just information.
Right.
People
and
that
headlines particularly directed towards farming, ranching, and homesteading.
right
In those particular
things that affect it.
things that affect that, and just
Right.
what's going on.
Yeah.
It might be a good or it might be a bad,
Yeah.
but whatever. Historical events, things that have occurred in our history that are related to homesteading, farming, ranching, that just might make an important
Right.
note. Just interesting.
Right. And
And then of course upcoming events, as we've already been talking about,
right.
things that we come into our onto our calendar that we know is coming up,
Mhm.
short term and long term calendar planning of events in an area. So if
Right.
you got any events or if there's something in your area, leave us a comment, send it over to us at Proton. It's the Farm to Table
Farm to Table Direct at
Proton Mail. That's
protonmail.com.
.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always mess that one up. But anyway,
And that's the Proton. I mean, that is the farm, the number two table direct at
mail.com.
protonmail.com. Yeah.
Right. And then the last part of that will be, of course, homestead highlights. And what
Yep.
that's going to be the part where if we've seen something interesting going on
Yeah.
with other channels, with homesteaders we know,
Well, there's a bunch of them out there,
yeah,
and they're all worth watching.
everyone.
It's not
So
that. It's just,
it's not, we just
which
pick
one
one
that,
had something.
that piqued our interest for some reason.
And so, yeah, they've caught our attention.
Yeah.
And
Hang on for just a
we're
minute.
gonna
I'm gonna tell the producer
we
something.
got to
She
tell the
walked in a
producer.
little bit late,
Yeah.
but we're recording in a different way through the hyperdeck. So yeah, I understand why you didn't understand what we're doing.
Yeah.
But thank you for that.
Okay.
So anyway,
Edit. Anyway.
yeah, edit.
But anyway, yeah. So, watching through the channels, watching through the different things, and and just kind of highlighting something going on with a particular channel that we think is comment worthy or think is
Right.
funny, or
Sure.
if there's something like the event that happened with and I'm going to mess this name up, so I apologize, guys. Ryuzak. Or what
Oh, right.
they were
Yeah.
that was the CSA that had
Right.
something mysterious happen to
Community supported agriculture. He
Yeah.
was
farm. About 80 families that he supported,
and somebody
something
sabotaged
happened to
him.
his
Yeah.
crops and stuff. And
Right.
I've never heard a final. I know they said something about some stuff, and it didn't make sense to me how it
Mhm.
could happen. But either way, something happened, and they lost. So that was a big deal. And they're right here in Oklahoma, and that was a
Yeah.
big deal. And so I mean, so when something like that comes up, we can talk about that, or
Right.
hey, when positive things happen, also
Sure.
at the same time,
Right.
more particular, and so just kind of it'll be a almost a weekly roundup kind of thing of just kind of what's happening.
Right. And then you also mentioned to me, stories about historical
Right.
things that
Well,
happened.
yeah, the historical events. I came across a story today. It popped in my headlines about a farmer protest
Mhm.
back in 1978
Right.
down in McAllen, Texas.
Long ago, and yet not
so
that
far.
long ago.
Exactly. And surprised. I mean, knew nothing about it. And that was the whole thing. And I'm not going to get into dig too deep into details, but let's just say that the farmer protests and some of the things that we've seen recently are not the first.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
right here in the United States of America, not
Yeah.
across the water.
That one was kind of corruption on a local
No,
level.
well, that was one little part of the
Right.
story. It kind of magnified that story,
Sure.
but the bigger story, of course, being that the price of about the country of origin labels and the rates and stuff, and the lack of representation that these farmers felt they had. And so and that formed out of during that, and what led to that protest was the American agriculture movement. So I mean, it was just kind of a thing to get rates up, and get
Right.
attention from Washington to address their needs to American farmers.
Right.
And so, but anyway, like I said, that something like that is interesting from a
Mhm.
historical context, puts
Yeah.
perspective on things going on today.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so that's kind of the farm to table report in a nutshell, right there.
Right.
And so hopefully that's something y'all will enjoy, something that will be informative and
Right.
help the overall new mission to bring these communities together to make people more aware of what's going on in the homestead communities. And
Right.
you know,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And did you have anything else on there, bro, on your notes? Because I knew that you had.
right. Well,
Did you get those covered pretty
I
well? or-
think so. I mean, our vision, that we've shared amongst ourselves for a while,
Yeah.
is to be the hub of information in the farm, ranch, and particularly the homestead communities.
Right.
If there's things going on, whether from events, from news, not digging off an opinion, but just actual
Right.
active news. just what's going on and how and the who, where to go to find out about things, and I think you said we're putting together on our page.
Right. Yeah. I wanted to say, there are certain people out there that, they don't want to hear about it, about the why and all the things going on, because like us, it gets us stirred up. I
Right.
know it gets them stirred up, and they don't really want to focus on hearing negative news all the time about
Right.
how, our way of life is being attacked, which it is.
It is. I mean, it's all
Um,
real. I mean, it's not that it's not
Right.
there.
And so, for those out there who still, want to know the why, we're building, I should say. I've already got the page up,
Right. Okay.
and the description will be in the links below of, if you want to know why you should be preparing. It gets into politics, and it gets into
The deep stuff.
some of the things that's going on that we just need to be aware of. And again, one of the things I will tell you is that, we provide the information. It's up to you,
Oh,
to
yeah.
decide, what
Right.
you want to do with that information.
Right.
But I think that we should not have our eyes closed as we go forward.
Oh, absolutely.
We're not closing our eyes.
No.
We're not going to focus on the problem, but
Right,
we're
right.
going to
Focus on the
focus on
solution.
the solutions to those
I
problems.
will say this. I mean, also, hey, if you're curious about, if you haven't went back and watched, some of our older stuff, we did quite a bit of in depth on the whys
Sure.
and the who behind the why, like I said
Yeah.
earlier, and
Yeah. Which a lot of you people already
a lot of
know.
it is information that's out there.
Yeah.
But again, just don't think that we've forgotten about that, but just choosing to focus differently.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to give them that
Go right ahead. Yeah,
that website. It is the farm, the number 2 table direct show.com/epic eyes. All right.
Is that
Epoch.
Epoch.
Yeah. Some
okay.
people say epoch eyes,
Epic.
epic eyes, however you want to pronounce it. EPOCHEYES, epic eyes. All right. And we're going to put that link in the description below, along with the password, because it is password protected.
Right.
And the password will be down there. And we've got our reasons that we want to,
Right.
to, password protected. It's not that we don't want you to see it. We do. But if you desire to see it, it's just that,
We're just changing our focus
Right.
a little bit. And, that's,
bots not welcome. I'll just put that way.
right. Yeah. No kidding. Ain't that something funny that now we're having to tell a robot we're not a robot?
Yeah, right. Bots not welcome.
But yeah, I think that kind of pretty well, covers up this new direction. Wish Josh, the boss, could be with us tonight, but he's under the weather.
He's under the weather.
But he's on board with this direction and kind of,
Yeah,
he's going to be our, as always, our in-house prepping
right.
expert, and we're going to get into some of that as well. As far
Sure.
as
Right.
that's part of the how, that's part of the solution. Is talking about that, and even bringing in other outside experts, or going to visit
Yeah.
other
Field work. Yeah.
field work, so to speak. But
Yeah, I'm looking
so that'll
forward to that.
definitely be a part of the show going forward. And
All right.
we just we want, it's always effort to provide information that's valuable, that's entertaining as well, if we can make it that way, but that you find useful.
Right.
And
I'm looking forward to showing up, to some events.
oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
want, that's the part that to me is, I said we've done a lot of things that were fun on the show. Eating bugs wasn't one of them.
No.
But we've done a lot of things that were fun, and we've had a lot of good times doing this. But I'll be honest with you, like I said, the expo that was like, I mean, it was, I ain't gonna say it wasn't a long day, because I mean, it's just physically you're on your feet going, but
Yeah.
but man, there was just so much there to try to take in, and just so
It was
exciting to be
A
around.
lot of information
So many
and community.
so many
like-minded.
like-minded individuals,
Yeah.
and so that was the
Absolutely.
part that we found was like, okay, that's that's fun to get out and get to go to them, and we're looking forward to setting up some field trips and some road trips, coming up, and there'll be a lot of things I think develop over the next few weeks and months as we build up to the Okie Homestead Expo, which is
Right.
March 22nd and 23rd of 2024, Mays County Fairground, Pryor,
Right.
Oklahoma.
Right.
Go out to okiehomesteading.com.
Mhm.
You can also Okie Homesteading Expo. You can search that. They're on Facebook,
YouTube.
YouTube. Of course, there's
Mhm.
Keeping It Dutch and Hidden Heights Farms are
Right.
the founders of that. And I know Daniel Arms is going to be
Right. He's going to
MC again this year,
Yeah.
and uh,
Joe
Joe
Salatin's
Salatin is on the
Right.
list of the speakers this year at the
Right. Well, there's several of them. The
several.
Macs are coming back.
Max are coming back.
Yeah.
Cassie from Walker Farm Fam.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Bar 7 Ranch is supposed to be
They're
there.
planning on being
Yep.
back. Um, uh, man, Growing Jack Outdoors. I was trying to remember his name. Just
Growing Jack
Outdoors. This
Outdoors.
dude's like 9 or 10 years young kid, right? But he's got a
Okay.
YouTube channel. And he was there
That's cool.
last year as well. But
Yeah.
I mean, he's something else. It's just amazing what he's done with, at a
Right.
young age that he's in it, and he gets it. And his dad and parents are teaching him some good things, and he's
Right.
it's just getting to watch him on his journey. It was pretty cool.
Right. And
like I said, so many
gardening.
Starting with Leon.
Leon.
Leon's going to be back,
Yeah.
and the list is growing with vendors.
Probably Eddie Farm family is
Oh,
supposed to
I
be
imagine
there.
Eddie family will
Yeah.
be there, and like I said, so many of the others, and I know I've seen
Right.
you know,
Restoration, most
Restoration.
likely.
I think they've already said they're there. Leah's going to be there with Homestead in a
Right.
Box.
Yep.
Pretty much, yeah, like everybody.
Everybody plus some,
Probably
probably.
plus some ones we don't know about.
Right.
And so
If we didn't mention your name, it wasn't on purpose.
it's just we don't have it written down, and so our
Right.
brains
We're just popping it out of our head.
For those of you that might be younger, when you top 50, things just start.
Oh, well, I do want to give a shout out to Dakota and Shayla over at Old Pecan. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Check out Old Pecan.
Yeah, go
Homestead.
check out Old Pecan Homestead. Dakota and Shayla. One that's
Yeah.
entertaining to watch them.
Good
Dakota-
people,
good-
man. Just
good
good.
people. And we were up there, last year at the expo. We were seeking people out. We were going up and
Right.
trying to find people to talk to.
Talk to.
And they witnessed this, and they sought us out. They wanted to have us come talk
Yeah.
to them. Talk to them. They sought me out,
Yeah.
and in the cutest of ways, they sent their business card over with one of their kids.
Yeah.
To boom, boom.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was cool. But and so Dakota, if you're watching this, here's the deal.
Yeah, man.
And I think I told you this, but I'll share with the listeners. He has a thing called Minuteman scales,
Yeah.
and which is cattle weighing and stuff like
Mhm.
livestock scales,
Right.
and they custom build all this other stuff. Well, there was a scale set out there, a miniature, scale that was showing what they did, and they had all the little hardware for the digital reads and all the different things.
hmm
I didn't see that they were a homestead. All I saw was the scale,
Right.
and which it's not that it's not interesting, but
Yeah.
we were seeking out homesteaders, and we were seeking a specific kind of thing, and I just didn't see them, and so I'm so glad that they
Reached
sent us.
out,
Reached
sure.
out. They seen us over there filming and interviewing people, and
Yep.
they reached out to us, and so I came over, and which that's on our channel, that's on the YouTube channel. Y'all can check out the little short interview I did with Dakota and Shayla, and they've since become I call friends. We
Yeah.
there's communication on a pretty regular basis, but
Right. Yeah. We
and-
keep up with each other's channels.
right, and they're really glad that relationship, and they're up and coming, they're growing, and they're he's got a goal, and y'all need to go check out Old Pecan Homestead. He's got a goal. He wants to be able to monetize, not for his pocketbook,
hmm
because he makes his living, but to be able to grow and sell locally, grow and help his local community.
That's
provide
exactly.
food.
That's the heart.
That's where his heart's at, is to want to be able to provide people an affordable place to come get natural grown, good grown food that they know is local and they know what's in
Right.
it. And so, go
Yeah.
over and check them out, like them, subscribe them. They're a great couple. And
Yeah.
so shout out, guys. and and listen, all of the ones that we talk about are great people, and we've enjoyed interacting with them. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that's it, man. I mean, that's kind of the future of the Farm to Table Direct Show. We are going to be the Farm to Table Direct Show,
Right.
man.
Exactly.
And
That's
so
what we're promoting.
that's
The solution is in the name.
the solutions in
The
the
Farm, the number 2 Table Direct
show. That's it.
Show. Right.
And as we've talked about, the shorter you can get that food supply chain,
Okay, you
the
bet.
better off you are.
Absolutely.
Well, bro,
Yep.
any closing thoughts or comments? Or
No, just looking forward to getting started.
I know, right? I
You
mean,
know,
it's like,
right.
where
And
do you go?
I will just, I'll say all change is not bad.
That's
Don't
right.
fear change.
Fear change, and punch fear in the face
Right.
every day.
That's it. Every day.
But all right, bro. Well, listen, man, y'all guys have heard what we talked about tonight. I hope y'all are on board. Our sub family that's been there with us along the journey. I hope you continue with us and
Right.
tell your friends and
Sure.
as
Share it.
always, hit that like,
Yeah.
ring the bell.
It helps, folks. It helps.
It does. I mean, it motivates us for one.
Right.
But it just the more people get the word out, the
Right.
better it is. And
Even if you don't have a community of your own, join ours.
join ours and we'll
Yeah.
link you up with somebody, even if it's just us two guys sitting here talking about it. But
Right.
no,
Yeah.
honestly, folks, we want that community to grow to family, and that's and being it amazes me how much that community is willing to help each other. So if you're not in a homestead community and you want one, unless you're just like, I don't know, from Mars or something, you're going to be embraced and you're going to be
Right. Yeah.
people are willing to help. They're willing to share information.
If you're like-minded, you'll find like-minded people. there.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so anyway, so I think that's it, bro. So
All right.
the sign off hasn't changed, folks.
Right.
So as we said, like, subscribe, share. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, iHeart, Rumble.
Right. Rumble. A little bit on
A
Rumble.
little bit on Rumble. We haven't really developed there, but
Yeah.
anyway. So like us, check us out, tell a friend,
Yep.
and as always, prepare for the unexpected and keep it local.
No humans were harmed in the production of this podcast.